Football Extra. My name is Raphael Banaman Court, and in today's episode, we speak about Mason Greenwood as well as Manchester United. So, if you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so to subscribe to the channel. So, let's go into a bit of details about Mason Greenwood and Manchester United. This afternoon, Manchester United released a statement to the effect that they no longer have any association whatsoever with the English international Mason Greenwood. The club statement came out, and the chief executive officer of the club, that's Richard Arnold, also released some sort of letter to the fans explaining the in-bits about Mason Greenwood and where the club actually brought finality to the issue of Mason Greenwood and Manchester United. So let me read you excerpts of the statement that Richard Arnold, that's the chief executive officer of Manchester United, actually released. So he says, "Dear fans," in quotes, "now that we have concluded and announced the outcome of the club's investigation on Mason Greenwood, I want to be direct and transparent with our fans about the process and the reasons for our decision." It goes on to say that this was an internal disciplinary investigation between employer and employee, which would ordinarily take place outside of the public eye. Given the public nature of allegations and Mason's profile, I acknowledge that this was not an ordinary situation, but it felt important that we will still follow due process and, so far as possible, avoid media comment until I made a definite decision. So last week, you may recall that the club actually released a statement that they were still in the final stages of concluding that was their investigation about Mason Greenwood. And a host of portals reported that the final say was going to come from the chief executive officer as to whether he was going to give his green light, which would mean that Mason Greenwood will certainly stay with the club or he will move on. So let me continue with that is portions of the statement from Richard Arnold. He is the chief executive officer of Manchester United. It goes on to say that our investigation sought to collate as much as evidence as possible to establish facts and concepts. This was not a quick or straightforward process for a variety of reasons. It was essential for us to respect the rights and wishes of the alleged victim. Also, we have limited powers of investigation, which meant we were reliant on third-party cooperation. Timings have also been influenced by my desire to minimize the impact of the investigations on our women's teams as well as our lionesses. I acknowledge that this gave me more speculation, but the alternative would have been to compromise due process or create untimely disruption. While we're unable to access certain evidences for reasons we respect, the evidence we did collate led us to conclude that Mason did not commit the act he was charged with. I'm restricted as to what I can say for legal reasons. So, it's a very lengthy statement that Richard Arnold released to the fans, but these are some portions that I like to read. So, let's get into it proper. But before we do so, Mason Greenwood as well also released a statement to the effect where he went on to say that I want to start by saying I understand that people will judge me because of what they have seen and heard on social media. I know people will think the worst. I was brought up to know that violence or abuse in any relationship is wrong. I did not do the things I was accused of, and in February I was cleared of all charges. However, I fully accept I made a mistake in my relationship, and I take a share of responsibility for the situations which led to the social media post. I am learning to understand my responsibilities to set a good example for professional footballers, and I'm focused on the big responsibility of being a father as well as a good partner. It goes on to say, today's decision has been part of a collaborative process between Manchester United, my family, and me. The best decision for us is for me to continue my football career away from Old Trafford, where my presence will not be a distraction for the club. I thank the club for their support since I was age 7. Therefore, I would always be part of Manchester United. So I am enormously grateful to family and all of my loved ones for the support, and it's for me now to repay the trust and those around me who have shown that. So it's a bit of lengthy statement with Mason Greenwood as well. He came out to release a statement, but let's go into the dictate of the statements released by both parties today. So on Manchester United parts, what I gather from this is the fact that they have a brand to protect. Manchester United is such a big institution in global football, and I for one feel that this decision was not taken lightly by some big wigs at the club, particularly the chief executive officer of the club. It's a brand, it's a global football brand, and I know for a fact that they want to protect their brand as possible. An employer of such a magnitude, when you look at how this situation unfolded 2 years ago, there were a lot of things that cropped or surfaced on the internet, people labeling Mason Greenwood as that is a victim, or they labeled him as a suspect in this particular occasion, but investigations down the line have revealed that he did no such thing. He was cleared in February of this year, so everybody felt that Mason Greenwood would have been given a leeway back into the squad. He would have been slowly integrated back into the squad, which is overseen by Eric Ten Hag. It didn't happen because the club themselves would want to move on from this sort of debacle, I believe. I for one felt that what the club could have done was, one, either slowly integrate Mason Greenwood into the setup, send him on loan probably to France, Italy, or Turkey for him to regroup and gather himself back, because 2 years not playing active football, it would have a toll on any footballer, even if you are Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo or Neymar da Silva dos Santos. 2 years of football inactivity, it will have a toll on you, and that's what happened to Mason Greenwood. Unfortunately, the club says they do not want any association whatsoever with him. He has to move on. When you look at the legal remit of these, the club themselves, they want to distance themselves. But the player himself, what does it do to him? He's coming 2 years football inactivity. The sort of mental scope he has on him, the physical scope he has on him, the emotional trauma is hard on him, because you stayed away, and if he were to be included in this setup for this season's premiership for Manchester United, I would understand that it would have taken a big toll on him. But what does it mean for him now that all finality and clarity has been provided in this particular situation? I feel that he could simmer a bit, train, get probably a loan move, or sign with any team in the Gulf region, or probably in Italy, Turkey, any of these lower sides, slowly build themselves. Because when you look at a player like Mason Greenwood, this is a guy that has abundance of talent. On the 3 attacking folds of the positions, he can play in the left wing, the right wing, behind the striker, or even as the forehead or as the arrowhead. But unfortunately, it was a decision he made, and life in itself has its way of some way sort of quote unquote punishing us for some of the decisions we make. I hope that on the back of this, he would actually learn from these things, because it's not easy. I hope that he'll learn from this. He'll become a better person and a better footballer. For Manchester United, it's an opportunity for them to move on. Clarity has been provided. A host of people, a host of large sections of the fans said they wanted to leave the club because if Greenwood was reinstated. Finality has been provided. Hopefully everybody moves his or her separate ways. And it's a big win for the club, but for the player, he loses on this particular occasion. His career, we don't know whether he's going to come back to football again, or that's about it for him. But whatever be the case, all the best to Mason Greenwood in his next life. So on this note, I'd like to draw the curtains down on today's statement that was released by Manchester United on Mason Greenwood's association with the club. They have cut ties with him, and he's no longer a player of the side. So that's all for today. My name is Raphael Banamankwati. If you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so to subscribe to the channel. Keep hope alive with sports.